Okay, I had just recorded this, but I wasn't really happy with the sound quality because my mic picked up the fan in the background, so it sucked. But anyways, let me just start this off by saying that you blocked me and you're talking about something which you even admit to not knowing anything about, or researching rather. And let's just jump right into this. Okay, you said Germany was basically the envy of nations before World War II. Like every other nation in Europe was jealous, which it was actually the exact opposite. The Treaty of Versailles had actually screwed over Germany pretty hard at the end of World War I, and so basically Germany was very, very poor, extreme poverty, and that's basically the reason Hitler rose to power. He blamed all the poverty on the Jews and gave Germans a reason and a way out of their humiliation. Okay, and after that you go on to say all of this stuff about the resistance and how you like passively aggressively insulting them constantly, and I'm joking, but well, they fought the Germans and they did a pretty good job with what they had. I mean, actually I think there are some pretty famous examples of resistances. I didn't remember this the last time I recorded this, or the time I tried before that, which was sort of a test, but yeah, I remember hearing all this stuff about this other event, but yeah, they did the best with what they had. They didn't have cell phones, they had phones, some of them, I imagine, and they also had like letters. It's about all they had to communicate with, other than meeting each other, which, ooh, the Germans wouldn't expect that. I'm pretty sure they probably had curfews or something, but I also remember another event where there was a bunch of stuff that helped us with D-Day, but it's another fiasco. There was also yeah, this lady who, like, I don't know, she almost got found out by a German officer, but at the last moment she put her gun away or whatever. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, they fought the Germans and they did quite well, and if it wasn't for them, the Germans probably would have gotten a nuclear weapon. They sabotaged the German supply of heavy water, so you needed heavy water to make nuclear weapons, at least back then. And next you start talking a lot about the Middle Eastern insurgents. Well, this whole time you're comparing them to, I guess, 60, 70 years ago, even though you're saying we need to modernize, yet you're saying they're similar, which kind of leads me to a point I want to make. Guerrilla warfare isn't new. It was used by, well, we practically pioneered it, or no? Were the Zulus before us? Well, we basically used guerrilla warfare against Britain. The Zulus use it against Britain as well. It's kind of funny, I didn't realize that, but the Zulus lost, of course, but they were heavily outgunned. And let me backtrack a little. Oh yeah, you're saying we need to modernize against this new threat, which isn't new at all. You even compared it to Vietnam, I believe, or something, which was a while ago as well, in the 60s, 40, 50 years back. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I wanted to make a little joke. In all fairness, the weapons they're using against us today are probably the same ones we gave them way back when to fight the Russians during the Cold War era. And you're saying they're so clever, like hiding in civilian populations in mosques It's so clever. I wouldn't. I don't know. I'd choose a more negative term, something that isn't such of a compliment. Maybe devious. By devious, they're not really that devious because it's not like they're pioneering some new strategy. Guerrilla warfare. Then, oh yeah. Never mind. I'm looking at my notes so I can try and keep myself somewhat on topic. Oh yeah, you talk about Germany not having their troops occupying areas, which they did. I mean, even at the end of the war, there was 1 to 2 million troops in Scandinavia alone. And of course, there were tons of troops in France, main part of the Atlantic Wall, which was a dumb idea for the record. And they could have actually taken advantage of it if they would have moved tanks and stopped D-Day, but they didn't because Hitler had to get his beauty rest, but it's a different story. And then you say if the insurgents / resistance, and it's funny because we call them insurgents now, but they basically are the similar thing, same thing, resistance. Then again, resistance is looked upon with a more positive connotation. Yeah, you say it would have been done in over 2 years, or under 2 years, under, around 2 years, and I'm just wondering where you got that number from. Seems quite random, which pretty sure it is. And you do know Hitler would have won if he didn't go insane and attack Russia, right? I just want to throw that out there. And then after that, you just jump over to South Africa, which at the time I had no idea why, but it was basically your point about guerrilla warfare and us needing to modernize and whatnot. And then you go on to praise the terrorists again by saying Israel had enormous trouble with them. They were embarrassed, etc., etc. And that's when I know why you're admiring these people. And then, oh yeah, the tough are defending the Marines, blah 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 blah. And then, yeah, you kind of do act like war is some sort of machismo contest, and that's sort of the mentality of a 12-year-old. And in closing, I'd just like to ask you to stop mocking the USA. And didn't you say you lived in Japan, not Europe, and you had some girlfriend, and then you described in odd details about how you had sex with her and nobody wanted to hear it, and it's probably a made-up story? Yeah? Or was that just a different character you were playing on one of your many, many other accounts? One of which is, of course, suspended because you just throw personal insults. And one more thing, for someone who does constantly sling out personal attacks, you're pretty ugly. Or at least that's what I can tell from your masturbation video or whatever that was. And yeah, my last thing I just want to say is stop making sock puppet accounts. It's obvious, especially when the person hasn't logged in for however long, has maybe 1 or 2 favorites to make it convincing, and the only subscription is to you. We're not stupid. Yeah.